Ciao, buongiorno, welcome to my channel. I'm Justin here with What You Cooking Good Looking. And so today we are going to be making a dish that is near and dear to my heart, tiramisu. And so tiramisu is a typical Italian pastry that comes from Treviso. Treviso is near Venice, and it's a region I've got a lot of experience with. I spent 2 summers near there in Padova, and I fly into the airport every time we go back to visit friends and to visit the family for whom I worked. And so Treviso created this masterpiece that we're going to create today. And it's actually much easier than you think. I know a lot of Americans, myself included, when I lived in the States, would just eat this when they went to Italian restaurants like Olive Garden or Carrabba's or whatever. But you can make it at home yourself, and you can also change it a little bit to suit your palate, okay? And so today, we're just going to begin. It's really simple. You don't have to cook anything. Just very simple ingredients. You start with some mascarpone and eggs. You separate the yolks from the whites. I'm going to use a little bit of amaretto because it's so good. And then also you need coffee. And I know a lot of American coffee is a bit watery. Not to be a snob on it, but I'm not a huge fan of very watery coffee. So just brew yourself some really strong coffee in your Keurig or whatever you have. I doubt a lot of you all have an espresso maker at home. You don't have to go to Starbucks and bring home like a double shot macchiato or whatever to be able to make this dish. Just make some really good strong coffee that you like, and you can use it in the dish, okay? And also you need some cocoa powder, very simple. And then these little guys, which we call ladyfingers. If your finger looks like this and you're a lady, go get a mani-pedi, because it's not very pretty. But it's a very typical cookie. You can find it at most grocery stores in the US. It's actually pretty common and essential to making a good tiramisu. Although, I guess if you want to make your own version, you could use a different type of cookie. And maybe it turns out kind of interesting. I don't know. If you want to make a shortbread cookie and use that, you can see how it works. So let's go ahead and get started, and let's begin. These are the ingredients you need. You need some mascarpone. Here I've got 500 grams. In here we've got some sugar. This is about 80 grams of sugar, although normally for what we're making you would use about 100 grams. But I prefer less sugar. I've got my amaretto here. That's optional. You can use rum or any other kind of liqueur that you would prefer. I've got 4 egg yolks here, but I'm going to add another egg yolk in a moment. I've got my cocoa powder and ladyfingers and just some coffee that's cooled down. I've got my egg yolks already separated because we're going to blend them in a second. And so we're going to start by separating the yolks from the whites. It's really simple. If you don't know how to separate the yolk from egg whites, this is how you do it. All right. And there you go. There you have it. So now we're just going to go blend these, and we need them to get to pretty stiff white peaks. So guys, we are going to start by adding a little bit of the sugar, about half of the sugar that we are using, into the egg white mixture, but let's slowly just mix it in. So now we're going to check on it. So yep, it's about the right texture, pretty firm. Oh, yeah. All right, nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the egg whites. I'll take this off. See if I can like this. There we go. And let's go back over here. So now let me just add that to the bowl here with a spatula. Nice, I love this. This texture is so cool. kind of want to just play in a pool full of egg whites. Froth like this. Oh. So, now that that's done, we're going to just use this again, right? We don't have to make it 1000% clean because eventually we're going to add the egg whites back. So I'm not going to wash this. If you have 2 large bowls for your mixer, or if you have a hand mixer, you can just mix in both bowls. But I'm using this for the mixing. I don't feel like using my hand mixer, so it's completely fine. Don't let it seem overcomplicated. It's not rocket science, right? So I'm going to now take the remainder of the sugar and add it to the egg white over here and mix this. And so now I'm just going to add the 500 grams of mascarpone that we have slowly to the mixture and let it continue to whip as well. So, now we're done with the mixer. I'm just going to empty the rest of the contents into the bowl. And, yep, nice creamy texture, almost like icing. And so, you're just going to slowly fold in these egg whites now. I'm going to take I'm being a bit clumsy today. Story of my life. So, just going to slowly fold those in. So now, I'm just going to add a little bit of amaretto, which is one of my favorite liqueurs, to the coffee. It just gives it a more robust flavor, okay? But don't add too much. You don't want it to taste too strong. And it's very simple. You can use any kind of pan. I'm going to use this because it has a lid. And I'm going to put some tiramisu in here. You can also make them really fancy by putting them into a martini glass. You just need to break the cookies a bit. And the same thing, if you have like a stemless wine glass or any kind of other glass that you want to use, you can do it. Just break the cookies and put it in there. And it's already individually served, right? This way. So, now we're gonna take a little bit of the cream mixture and we're just gonna smooth it out on the bottom of our container. Just a light amount, it doesn't have to be too much. So now I'm going to take the lady fingers and I'm going to roll them around in our coffee mixture. Just don't leave it there too long. If you do, then it becomes soggy and it breaks apart, and that's just a big flaw. But don't do it too little because these are quite dry, and if it's not moist enough, then you will have kind of a dry tiramisu. So you got to find that sweet balance. Now that I've got my layers, I'm just going to put the lid on it and leave it in the fridge overnight. And I'll check on it tomorrow when it's ready. I will sprinkle the cocoa powder that we have. And that's the last thing you do, is put the cocoa powder. So don't put it before, because you'll just need to put more tomorrow because it's going to dissolve into the mixture. And so let's check on it and see how it is tomorrow, okay? So nearly 24 hours have passed, and now we are going to check on our tiramisu. I believe it is ready. So, yeah, it looks perfect. It's got like a harder consistency to it. It's not the same texture as it was yesterday. And so now I'm just gonna take the cocoa powder and dust the top. Okay, and now that it's done, you can plate it. So, let's go ahead and cut a nice slice. Oh yeah. Okay, so in these containers, it's a bit hard to get a pretty piece out. But what's most important is the flavor. Not too bad though. Thought it was gonna end up a little uglier. Okay, so, although it's not the prettiest piece because it's a corner piece, the first piece is always hard to get out. It's still going to taste just as delicious, so let's try that and see how it tastes. So, tastes like diabetes, but so good, so good. I think I'll get a little hyper from all the sugar and coffee and have a very productive afternoon. Really good. So there you have it. Tiramisu. Very easy to make, very delicious. So now try it at home. And thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like and be sure to comment down below if you have any questions and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Ciao.